let's talk about Shelton Jackson Lee, a.k.a. Spike Lee. Spike was the first director to really give the world an inside and authentic look at Black America. Spike has explored a lot of themes: African-American history, tackled race relations in the modern world. He's dealt with politics, class, urban violence, personal relationships, and all of that has made him a movie icon. Cut! Born in Atlanta just before the Civil Rights Movement, but he grew up in Brooklyn, New York. Like his father and his grandfather before him, Spike attended the renowned black college, Morehouse College. Then he got his master's at NYU Film School. Now, it was 1986 when people started to hear about it. For just $175,000, and that's nothing, he shot his first feature called She's Gotta Have It. That film was awesome, and it won him an award at Cannes. Oh, and Spike's character, Mars Blackmon, became a part of pop culture. Who can forget those Nike commercials?
Money's gotta be the shoes. Shoes, 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 shoes.
Next comes 1989's Do the Right Thing. That was one of Spike's masterpieces. That dealt with racial tensions in a Brooklyn neighborhood.
It's about turning that shit off and get the out of my place!
By the way, that film got him an Oscar nomination for Best Original Screenplay. A couple of years later, another classic. This one deals with interracial dating, Jungle Fever.
She's white.
White! Man, are you on crack or something?
Next up, he made Malcolm X. That film was a personal mission for Spike, and that connected Malcolm to a whole new generation. Since then, Spike's been really busy, pretty much making a movie a year, including the blockbuster Inside Man and When the Levees Broke, his award-winning documentary about Hurricane Katrina.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Spike's latest film is based on the book Miracle at St. Anna. It's about 4 African-American soldiers caught behind enemy lines during the Second World War.
Bishop, we're dead?
No, listen to me. You was dead, okay? But I brung you back. Now, you ain't dying until I get my money. You owe me $1,400.
Everybody say hello to Spike Lee. Welcome to the hour. Nice to see you. How familiar with the book were you? Like, Miracle at St. Anna's, this new film of yours. Had you read the book and known the book before?
It was in my wife's bookshelf. Been there for a while, and one day, the Spirit told me to pick it up.
You got spirits in your house, man?
I have spirits that surround me, that have protected me. And the Spirit told me to pick up that book, and I read it, and I somehow found James McBride's phone number, called him up cold, and said, I want to make this into a film. So that's how it happened.
Did he believe it was you calling?
No, he didn't believe it at first.
No?
Thought it was one of his boys messing with him. But then after 5 minutes, he knew it was me, and I promised him that if we could make a deal, that I would make this into a film.
It's a big step for a director to make a war film, especially a World War II film.
Well, I grew up watching World War II films, and at that time, I did not know I wanted to be a filmmaker. My brothers, my siblings, and I, we loved just watching those films. And once I became a filmmaker, I knew I would like to do one. And I knew I've been going to Italy since 1986 to do press and vacations for my films over the years. And every year, Italian journalists have asked me, when are you going to make a film in Italy? So with James' book, he provided the ticket for me to make that happen.
That's not the first time you've made a movie dealing with the relationships between Black Americans and Italians.
Yes, but
it's a little different.
Do the Right Thing, Jungle Fever, and you might even include Summer Sam, was Italian Americans.
Yeah.
Much different from Italians in the north of Italy in 1944, World War II. They had never seen black people before. I mean, the ones who were Mussolini's army that invaded Ethiopia in mid-30s they did, but not these people.
Certainly not, and in a much different context as well.
Right.
So you get out and you make this film and you have to go cast it. You recognize that this is such a character-driven movie, and you have to sell a lot of different angles to this. It's a very complex story.
Right.
You're dealing with different kinds of relations, not just race relations. You did something really, I hadn't seen a director do this in a long time. You made a film where you made Nazi soldiers look sympathetic, which obviously they were, because a lot of them are human beings. They were soldiers.
Well, that was one of the conventions we did not want to fall prey to. One of the conventions of a World War II film is that the Nazis are just total inhuman. I'm not going to belittle the, you know, a lot of brutality, you know, inhumane stuff, but...
Which you show as well.
Which we show as well, the massacre that took place. But we felt that not everyone could be a devil. So we wanted to try not to have one-dimensional Nazis in this film.
I'm assuming you're a confident director when you walk into any setting.
Yes.
When you look at a picture like this, and you're telling a story that hadn't been told really,
Right.
Very often, if at all, did you look at the totality of what's ahead of you and go, okay, really can't get this one wrong?
Well, I didn't approach it that way. I'm very confident in my ability. The thing I was not confident about was the kid. That was a wild card. We had to find a kid who could play this. And we had an open call in Florence, and 5,000 young Tuscan boys came for the open call. I did not see all 5,000. I saw the final 100. And we got the gift with this kid, Mateo, who never acted before, and he gives a phenomenal performance. If we did not have the performance from that kid, the film would not have turned out the success I think it turned out to be.
This kid, Angelo's amazing, the character that he played, and he really does, he pushes the narrative through in a lot of ways. But now, one of the lead characters is a character named Stamps, and Derek Luke is fantastic in this movie, but it wasn't supposed to be him, it was supposed to be Wesley Snipes?
Yeah, Wesley Snipes was supposed to play the role, but Wesley's has some problems.
Well, when the tax man calls, you have to deal with that.
See what happens, you don't mess with H&R Block, you know, you get So it didn't work out with Wesley, but we hope to make the James Brown story together very soon. And Derek had a very rough role because Michael Ealy had been cast. The 4 guys, 3 had been cast already. Michael Ealy, Omar Benson Miller, and Laz Alonso. We cast him like a week before we had to go to, in fact, he didn't have a passport. So he had to rush and get that, and but he caught up though. He did a great performance.
An amazing job. It's a different film without a star as the lead.
Well, it's an ensemble piece, and for example, originally, you know, a lot of times the way you want it is necessarily the way it should be. For example, Do the Right Thing, my first choice to play Sal was Robert De Niro. Now, Robert's one of the greatest film actors of all time. But an actor of his stature and weight would have tipped the scale too much. And so it worked out having Danny Aiello do that role, and Robert De Niro say, do you want to do it?
See, and I think Danny Aiello allowed, his performance allowed John Turturro's performance to be bigger than what it could have been.
And just everybody else, Richard Edson, myself, I played Mookie, and Ozzie Davis, and Samuel L. Jackson, and Giancarlo Esposito. So,
and Robin.
And the great, late great Robin Harris. So I really, I mean, unless I'm working with Denzel, my main man, we've done 4 films together. If he's not in it, I prefer to do ensemble pieces. Of course, it's much harder to get finance for those films because the studios pay these stars that amount of money because it's a guarantee when those films open, the butts are going to be in the seat.
Well, you've had a lot of success, and I know Inside Man was a massive success for you, and I'm sure that as your career has gone on, it's easier to make movies, but is it easier to make movies that you like, that you want to make? Because I'm sure you can make lots of movies.
Well, I'm glad you say it the way you said it, that you want to do. Inside Man was my biggest success, and I deluded myself into thinking that maybe after 20 years, that'd be a little easier. But I'm not here, you know, sitting in front of you complaining and belly aching. It's hard getting a film made regardless in the Hollywood studio system today, unless you're Spielberg, Lucas, James Cameron. If you're not doing a superhero comic book or some stuff like that, if you try and do original, unique piece, it's hard to get that film made. Consequently, that's why we had to go to Europe to get the bulk of financing from the French and Italian financiers.
So this was a difficult movie to get made then?
Yes.
And now, did you start the process of making this movie long before the stuff before you and Clint Eastwood happened, right?
Oh, yeah, the film was done then.
Up to the point? All right, we'll get into that and more stuff. We'll actually ask Spike Lee's opinion as well of what's going on with the race for the President of the United States. You were at the Democratic Convention?
I was there.
We'll talk about Barack Obama and perhaps even Clint Eastwood more with Spike Lee when the hour returns. You're back here on the hour. Spike Lee is here. The thing between you and Clint Eastwood was great headline fodder. Was it just headlines, or was there actually a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes there?
No, there was no stuff going on behind the scenes. I made a statement, which I feel is fact. He didn't like it.
He responded.
He responded.
But he didn't just respond. Didn't he tell you to do your history? Like, he responded harsh.
Yeah, and then I ended it.
Yeah. Is that the kind of thing you want? I mean, because you're not...
No, it was never meant to be disrespectful. I mean, before I made my statement about the lack of African Americans in his two films, I said Clint Eastwood was a great director, is a great director. So it was not said out of malice or disrespect. I was just stating fact. And he took it the wrong way.
You know, whenever anything happens involving the black community, people ask you what they think. They don't always ask the white director what they think about what happens in the city, but they ask you.
I understand that, but if I do choose to answer those questions, I always preface it by saying I'm not the spokesperson for 45 million African Americans. So if I do speak in it's my opinion. I've never tried to put myself speaking on behalf of everybody.
It's funny, that preface never makes it in the soundbite, does it?
They leave that out.
You're comfortable with it? I mean, do you like the fact that you...
Well, before I used to, when I was young and dumb, before I used to just comment about any and everything. So now I just try to be more particular.
What was the Democratic Convention like? I mean,
it was great. I went with my wife, Tanya, and it was one of the great experiences of my life. I never thought that I would see that day happen. So that was a great day in my life. It's gonna be another great day, November 4th, when he wins.
When he wins?
When he wins.
I was wondering that. So you're telling me then...
Whoa, I'm not finished yet. And an even greater day will be on January 20th, when he puts his hand on the Bible and takes that oath as a 44th President of the United States of America.
You gonna cry?
I will. You know, people think, you know, I'm only 4 generations removed from slavery. My grandma lived to be 100 years old. Her mother was born a slave.
It was only in the 60s when a black man could go to college with white people. That was in the 60s.
I mean, some colleges in the South. So, I mean, it's not like this thing is like, it's big. It's big. And sometimes people who don't live in America, it's hard to understand the social and how racism is so interwoven into the fabric of American society. But this is definite evidence that the country has moved, the country has evolved, and I think there are going to be enough young white Americans who grew up listening to hip-hop, who don't necessarily have the same, see things in the world the same way their parents and grandparents did, and their great-parents, and they're not going to go, they don't want another 8 years of the Bush administration, which I feel that would be if McCain and the gun-toting vice president nominee.
So,
you know what? Have you seen those pictures of her shooting those automatic weapons?
that plays huge in the sticks, though, doesn't it?
But here's the thing, though. When Dick Cheney shot someone, he missed. If she shoots someone, they're gonna be dead.
But even
she is not gonna miss. She's a card-carrying member of the NRA.
She'll be good with Michael Moore, no less, who I think is also a member. But think about this: it's not just a black man running; he's a member.
He's not running for office.
No. A black man is running to be the president of the United States, and a woman is a vice presidential candidate from the other side.
Right.
America is a different place, or does it just seem like it's a different place?
No, it's different.
Because New Orleans wasn't that long ago.
Well, it's not that much different, but I think that. Let me change that. I think you saw a very different approach by the United States government, the local state governments, and FEMA with Gustav, a reaction to what happened with Katrina. And then when I'm watching this thing on CNN, and they got Michael Chertoff there, How's this guy still have a job? I mean, they made Brownie the scapegoat.
Heck of a job, Brownie.
Heck of a job. But Chertoff was his boss, and he's the one whose neck should have been.
But
because he wasn't. And the reason why I say that is because people in New Orleans no longer have relatives. They no longer have children, uncles, cousins, husband and wives that are dead because it took the United States government 5 days to show up. A year before, they had the tsunami in Sri Lanka. The United States government was there in 2 days to bring relief to the area that needed. The last time, when you go home tonight, ladies and gentlemen, if you have a globe in your house, in your apartment, or go on the internet, see if Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana is attached to the continental United States. Why did it, they still have not answered, why did it take 5 days to come to the help of American citizens, holding up signs, help me, and Bush just flies over, looking out the window?
Yeah, the place looks nice. I want to go back to filmmaking before we wrap it up, and I wanted to know, a lot of directors know where their wheelhouse is, their comfort zone is, and I know a lot of performers say they like to challenge themselves, but there's a reality of knowing what you got. Is there a genre that you haven't touched that you're,
a musical. I want to do a musical.
The James Brown one. Will that be a musical?
Well, that's really like a performance piece. I'm talking about a straight-out musical, like West Side Story,
for
something
real?
like that. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Come on. Okay, have you got one in your mind?
No.
No? Anybody wants to write a musical for Spike Lee, just send it to his offices, 40 acres and a mule, and they'll take care of you,
But
right?
I would love to collaborate with Stevie Wonder, Prince, somebody of that caliber on a musical. And it's going to happen one day.
It's good to see you, man. Thanks for coming
All right, man. Thank you for having me.
Of course, appreciate it. Thank you. Spike Lee. It's called Miracle at St. Anna. It's in theaters just August, September 26th. It's a really good film. Thank you for watching, my friends, tonight. We'll see you tomorrow. That's time.